Alright, welcome back, my magical beings. How are you? How are you really? So, before I get into this reading, I'll update y'all again. I've been falling into this routine of recording my videos at 3 in the morning, but of course, y'all see it always at 1 in the evening. But, yeah, I'm trying to retrain my brain and kind of fall out of my comfort zone, because normally around 3 in the morning I'm actually on my phone, just watching videos and basically not really using my time wisely while my daughters are asleep, so I don't know, maybe y'all needed to hear this message, to really use your time wisely, okay? If you have a break or something to yourself, it's kind of what are we doing with our time, And when it comes to our goals and things of that nature, are we utilizing our time to where it is allowing us to achieve our goals? Okay, so to anybody else who needed that message, okay, that is most definitely for you, okay? It's one thing for us to want to make something happen, but it's another thing for us to actually, make time for that thing to happen, okay? We only get out what we put in, okay? It's all about sacrificing and stepping out of our comfort zone and breaking out of our normal routine. If we want different, we gotta move different. So that's what I've been practicing myself. This is my second night in a row being consistent with recording at 3 in the morning instead of surfing on the internet. So I could be talking to somebody who maybe you have your own business or your own ideas or your own product, but it's you may view other businesses as more interesting, okay? But it's we have to put all that time back into ourselves, the time we're trying to give to other people or the things, We have to be willing to pour that into ourselves from time to time, We have to fall in love with our own content, our own products, our own establishments and business before somebody else can. Okay? So, we're going to go ahead and dive into this reading. I pray that all is well with you, magical beings. I pray that we get a very good message out in this one that's very empowering, encouraging, enlightening, inspirational, motivational, okay? For some of you, this could come in the form of confirmation, okay? Or it could be a gentle reminder that you're doing good, or provide you with a heads up, okay? So, alright, let's see what we have. Sorry if the crickets outside are a bit loud. I'm in my dining room right here by the window, so it might be a little loud out there. I apologize for that. Also, before the camera came on, I had a vision of a conversation about speaking our truth. Okay, so for some of you, I don't know who that's for, you may feel you everything that you say, you feel you have to watch what you say, how you say it. That's really draining, to always be diplomatic. It sometimes affect the message that we need to, get out there. I myself am a tarot reader, but, I'm always taking into account how other people will feel and what they will think. And a lot of times it disturbs my flow, So to anybody, if I ever say anything that offends you or that, hits a spot, just know that's not my intent. Okay, this is a channel about healing, learning, growing, and evolving. So if when you watch my content, you find that you are triggered by something, okay, that's something to really look into, okay? Triggers are nothing more than wounds that we try to put a band-aid over that have been like resurfaced, okay? That's like resurfaced anger, resurfaced pain, hurt, sorrow, okay? So it's something to really look into, okay? If these readings trigger any type of response or emotion out of you, that's something to really tap into, okay? So I'm gonna see what else we have here, but know that I never mean any harm, okay? All I do is deliver the messages that come to me as honestly as I most possibly can. Okay. It's kind of like a therapy session. You know, when your therapist start, mentioning stuff about the past, they don't mean any harm. Alright, so far we have the Four of Cups, we have the Tower card, and we also have the Page of Wands. Okay, I'm trying to see if we can get like 3 more cards here, okay? What it looks like for a lot of you, you could be turning your back on things that really no longer serve you, okay? May have had like an epiphany and thought to yourself like, I don't think this friendship is really satisfying enough. I don't feel like this relationship or marriage is just, I don't feel like it's hitting a spot no more. Or maybe you realize something and it's like this aha moment pushed you forward to a whole new beginning here. Or either you're desiring a whole new beginning, okay? We have the 9 of Swords. We also have the 4 of Wands, okay? And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Lovers, okay? So, yeah, what I'm saying is for a lot of you, you may have experienced like a fallout with the people around you, okay? You may have tried to make certain connections or things in your life work, but, I don't know why I just had this, but the saying in my head, a failed attempt, okay? For some of you, you may have reconciled with somebody or a group of people, like tried to get back on the same page as them, tried to be nice, tried to make it work, tried to be peaceful. It looks like you tried multiple times to make things work, okay? And it's just like now you're thinking to yourself, like I've extended as much love as I know how to extend, and I've forgiven, as much as I most possibly can. I've been patient, for as long as I most possibly can. And it's like now you may have somebody or a group of people like, hey, I apologize. Can we work on this again? And you're just like, what about the other times that I tried to make this work? What about all the energy that I invested previously? Okay? And for a lot of you, with this failed attempt, saying this in my mind, it's like all that you extended and weren't receiving back, it just really had you questioning yourself. Why are my attempts not working? Why are these relationships not falling in place? Why is this opportunity not working out? Why do these people not love me? Why do they not care how I care? Why am I the only one extending so much love and care and tenderness, Why am I not receiving this back? Why are my efforts and my works not paying off? Why is it not paying off? And it's kind of like, you had the mentality that, if these people can't, if these people can't get on board and reciprocate like me, if my job can't pay me as much as I'm working, if my friends can't be there for me as much as I'm there for them, I'll just have to move forward. I don't want to, but I see how this is making me feel. I am extending more of myself than what I am receiving back. And it's like you had that aha moment, like, oh wow, this is really unbalanced. I really am loving these people or this person more than they are loving me. And it's like you made your mind up that, I'm just gonna cut it out. Whatever no longer serves me, I'm cutting it out. Whatever I have to fight hard for, whatever I have to, or whoever I have to beg to stay in my life, if it's gonna cause me this much stress, like I love these people, I love this person, but if loving these people or this person or being on this job or being on this career path, if it's causing me to feel like this, if it's causing me to lose sleep, if it's causing me stress, anxiety, worry, frustration, should I have to put up with this? Should I have to be in connections like this? And it's almost as if as soon as you realize your worth, as soon as you realize that, oh, I don't have to take this, I don't have to put up this. It's like as soon as you realize that, that's whenever, that's whenever this person or these people come back around like, hey, I'm sorry, can we work on it? But it looks like you actually walked away before and had forgiven this person or these people before, okay? Because to me, anytime I see these bowls, I always think of like unkept promises, okay? Or chance after chance after chance, okay? Unfulfilling experiences. Okay, people say, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do it better, things will change, but it ends up being like empty words, okay? This could have been a lot of people or a person in your life that just could not get their actions to match their words, okay? And it's almost as if as many chances of you given this person or these people, it's kind of pushed you into the state of just like not even caring anymore. Like, look at her. This is kind of like the energy of being apathetic, or is it apathetic? To where she's just numb to it. I don't know why I just got this, but it's like numb to the BS. Like, yeah, last time you said you were sorry. Last time you said you was gonna change. Last time you said you was gonna be there for me, how I'm there for you. That's what you said last time and the time before that. This person is absolutely fed up, and she's starting to, put her attention elsewhere. She's looking towards the future, and it's just like, why not move forward? Because I would like to be here with these people. I would like to have these connections. I would like to be in this marriage relationship and have fun. But it feels like I'm the only one that is investing. So it's kind of like I would much rather just move forward and be happy and enjoy my own energy than to continue to extend it to people who, kind of like take my love for granted, or they just, because in this card they're just playing and just taking things very lighthearted, just very careless and not as considerate and as thoughtful as the other person. I could be talking to somebody who like I said in the beginning of the video, to where it's like you take into consideration how your actions and how your words affect people, and it's just like when it comes to their actions and what they say, it's almost as if like they're just absolutely careless. They dance freely, they talk freely, they move freely. It's like not really taking into consideration how you feel about things, and it leaves you thinking to yourself like, why are they not as considerate as I am? Why are they not as thoughtful as I am? Why am I the only one that cares this deep? I actually could be talking to an empath, okay? Empaths, we feel things on a much deeper spectrum than the average person. Uh-oh. Sorry, y'all, I had to turn my camera. But yeah, we tend to feel things much deeper than the average person. We tend to have much more empathy than the average person, more compassion, more sympathy. We tend to be much more thoughtful, much more, just we are so much more deeper, so when it comes to superficial friendships, family dynamics, or relationships or marriages, it's like those people don't mean any harm, but they are just not as deep as us. Their love can only go so deep, and does that make them bad people? No, it just means that energetically they are not as intense and as deep as us, and also being an empath, it can really make you feel alone, because once again you feel things so much more deeper than the average person. So when it comes to like romance, this person, they could think that everything is lighthearted, like and just really seeing it as like a fun time. But it's just like, it's like you think to yourself like, as an empath, you think to yourself like, why does it have to be so surface level? Why can't it get any deeper than this? Or why can't this person get any deeper than this? Why is it just fun times? But whenever I'm sad, it's a completely different ball game. Or how can I have fun with these people but be so alone whenever hard times come, okay? So I really could be talking to somebody who, it's like your friends. I'm really picking up like friendly vibes, okay? But I mean, of course, this could be your lovers or, your family. But it's just like, okay, they're here for a good time. But when it comes to when you actually need these people, or when you need your husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend, or your mother, father, or sister, brother, whoever, it's like they're not there. Here for a good time, all the fun times, the laughs, the partying, they're here for that. But when it comes to these dark thoughts that you have, when it comes to that sadness, that sorrow, those hard days, where are those people, or where is this person, But it's crazy because it sounds like you are there for those people. It sounds like you are there for this person whenever they need you. But also, it sounds like the person that I'm talking to, you may have thought to yourself for so long, or you may have gone through this for so long to where you have comforted yourself for so long because people weren't able to, or they just chose not to be there for you. But it's almost as if it's almost as if like this whole process of you having to sit to yourself with your own sorrows has actually strengthened you. Okay? It's like this has strengthened you, okay? Because at first it's like, okay, she's sitting to herself like, oh, nobody's ever here for me. You know, nobody's here to rub my back. Nobody's here to wipe away my tears, although I'm always there for other people, you know. But it's almost as if she's thinking to herself now, like, I don't have to extend so much of my love to people. You know, I can just pour all of that into myself. And that's exactly what I was mentioning in the beginning of the video, how at 3 something in the morning, I watch other tarot readers, you know, and a lot of times I do think to myself, like, okay, well, why is my channel like not getting as much views as the other ones, although I am being authentic? And I got to realizing, like, if my attention is more so on the other tarot readers than my own, you know, how can I expect anybody else to really pay attention to this channel versus the other tarot readers' channel? So it's all about us pouring that same energy that we pour into other people into ourselves, you know, because it's like, what right do we have to basically complain about people not doing things for us that we're not doing for ourselves? Okay? Because once again, it really sounds like I'm talking to an empath, and you are always there for other people. You're always comforting other people. You're always taking time for other people. But when it comes to like problems pertaining to yourself, you know, it's almost as if you expect that same love in return from these people. But here's the catch. You are fully equipped to give yourself that comfort, that love, that nurture. And it looks like that's what you are realizing now, okay? Especially with this Page of Wands. The Page of Wands energy, she's all about, okay, this is my journey. I'm pouring into myself. I create happiness on my own. I am whole and complete on my own. I am my own comforter. I am my own savior. I am my own light, pride, and joy. I am my own source of sunshine. You know, and it's almost as if, you know, it seems like really most empaths, they end up having to go through this big lesson to where they realize nobody loves me as hard as I love them, or nobody is going as strong as I am, or nobody is as thoughtful and considerate and dedicated as I am to my relationships, or to my marriages, to my friendships, whatever the case may be. Most empaths feel like they do and feel far more than the next person. And it's like the universe has to put us in circumstances to where we vividly see that we are extending much more than the next person, so that it can frustrate us, so that we can be much more wise with how we're spending our time and how we're spending our love and our affection, you know. We should never have to invest much more feelings into a connection than the next person, or much more effort. Everything must be balanced, okay? Because it really sounds like the empath that I'm talking to, you have done and extended yourself far more than you really were supposed to. And I think that really is the biggest lesson here: to love accordingly, to be there accordingly, you know, and to just move accordingly, according to other people, you know. Use your time wisely. The time that we invest into other people to make sure they're okay, to make sure their lives is, you know, okay, make sure they're happy, make sure we're smiling. What about investing that time into ourselves? Because the more we try to invest it in other people, the more that they're, you know, something I've learned, y'all, is that the more we give, the more we are available, the more we are present. It seems as if that's whenever our value actually goes down. Okay, let's say for instance, this tent right here. Okay, if that tent is always there every day, of course they're not going to value it. Of course they're not going to keep it up. Of course they're not going to really appreciate it, because they know, oh, the tent, yeah, the old tent is always there. But if the presence of that tent, if it was just there temporarily, or if they were just renting that tent, they would most definitely take care of it. They would most definitely be much more considerate. They would most definitely actually, appreciate it, because they know it's rare and it looks like they're in the desert. So what I'm saying, dear empath, okay, if you are always there, if you are always overextending yourself, if you are always, everybody's knight in shining armor, if you ever feel unappreciated, that's why. Because it's almost as if, like, y'all know how, like, every morning we wake up, we walk to the bathroom, we pee, we go through that same routine. It's just like we don't realize that we have grown apathetic to, or numb to, or ungrateful towards our legs. Most people, they don't think to be grateful for their legs. All we know is that we get up, we walk to the bathroom, that's it. It's something we do every day. It's something we've grown accustomed to. Our legs have always been there, so it's just like, all right, another day of just walking to the bathroom. It's because we have grown adjusted to our legs. We've grown adjusted to them always being there. And it's not until, they're missing to where we realize, like, oh my goodness, I realize how important my legs are. I realize how I have been taking them for granted. So it's like the same thing here. You may feel like the people around you don't appreciate you. You may feel like they're not there for you as much as you're there for them. But here's the thing. We teach people how to treat us. So if you haven't really been taking much time to yourself, but you constantly been there for other people, it's like you program in their minds that it's okay for them not to be there for you either, but to just worry about themselves. People only do us how we do ourselves. If you constantly put on the back burner your plans for other people, when they mention a plan, they're going to naturally expect you to neglect what you have to do to be there for them. If you always say, oh, I'm okay, you don't have to worry about me, that's what will be programmed in their minds. Like, oh, okay, they okay, I ain't going to worry about them. We teach people how to treat us. And most empaths, we do tend to put our needs aside. We do tend to neglect ourselves. We do tend to neglect our needs. We're very selfless. We're very giving. And nothing's wrong with that. But here's the thing. If we are dealing with people who are not empaths, our love levels are unbalanced compared to them. We can't love, or it's not going to feel right trying to fully love, compared to an empath. Like, their level of loving at the highest potential looks completely different from our level of loving to the highest potential. It's kind of like, I just thought about a basketball game. If you take an amateur and have them to play at their highest potential, and you take a professional basketball player and he plays at his highest potential, of course there's going to be a big score difference. Okay? So same thing here. You're giving your all, and it might be that these people are giving their all too. But because you two are on different wavelengths, different frequencies, one person's in empathy, other people or person is not, your love is going to look very different. So that's why we have to use our time wisely. The time that we spend investing all of our love or all of our affection into other people, that excess is considered excessive, okay? I'll just put that out there. An empath love to an average person, somebody who is not an empath, our love is excessive. So that's why we have to redirect the excess flow of love. And it all flows back to ourselves. The best person to redirect that extra love, extra attention, extra time is into ourselves. That's when we grow. That's when we glow. That's when we evolve. That's where we learn how to appreciate ourselves and value ourselves. Because once we take time to pour that same love, time, affection, and care into ourselves, that's when we realize just how valuable our love, time, affection, and care is. And that's when we grow to be selective with who we give it to. Because once we get a dosage of our own medicine, it's just this medicine is very potent. Everybody don't deserve this. Okay? Everybody doesn't deserve my love. Does that mean they're unlovable? No. It just means that my love, my affection, my care, and my tenderness is very valuable. And I know that because I poured it into myself and I've seen the results of it. You know? So it's all about us being selective with who we give our time, our energy, our love, and our affection, and all of that to. But we have to also remember as empaths to be careful of how much of ourselves we are giving away. Because once again, you know, every day our legs are constantly there, you know. So a lot of times we end up taking them for granted. Same thing with our love. If we're constantly over giving our love to people, they're going to count on that love to be there. And they'll end up taking that for granted. They don't try to. It's just we're creatures of habit. You know, if we know something's going to be there, you know, if I know that same piece of ham going to be in the refrigerator, I'm not going to freak out about it. But it ain't until that piece of ham go missing when I realize, hey, we got a problem. Okay? So it's almost as if you have to learn to redirect all of that energy, all of that care, all of those thoughts back into yourself. Because at the end of the day, it looks like you are in need of that type of love. That same love that you give out, you need that back desperately. The same way you comfort people, you need that desperately. It's like you're begging for other people around you to be who you are. Loving, kind, considerate, thoughtful. But have you ever thought to yourself that maybe I can get the job done? Okay? And it looks like that's the type of mentality that you're shifting into. I can't expect these people to be here for me how I am for them because they don't love as deep as they do. They don't love as deep as I do. I'm an empath. I can comfort myself. I am whole on my own. I have the tools needed, literally. I have the necessary tools needed to pull myself out of this funk. I am my own savior. You know, the same love I put into others, I am putting into myself now. The same way I'm trying to be there for other people, I am being here for myself. And after a while of us caring for ourselves, being there for ourselves, and practicing self-love, that's when we realize how valuable our love is. And that's when we start to grow much more stingy with it. You know, it's like, imagine if you had a cookie business and you never tasted your own cookies. So you don't really know how good they taste. So you just freely give them away to people in the neighborhood for a cheap price. But one day you sit down to yourself and you eat one of the cookies. You think to yourself like, this is really good. And then you grow confident in it. And you're like, look, they finna start paying more for this. I'm not just gonna freely give these away anymore. These are some really good cookies. And speaking of cookies, I don't know, I could be talking to somebody who, you could be, giving your cat to the wrong person. Okay? And they just there for a good time. But with you being an empath, your love, it runs deep. Good times don't last too long with empaths. Because we require so much more than just this, okay? This only works for so long, okay, for an empath. This only works for so long. At the end of the day, we'll end up needing more, But that more can come from us. It's almost as if we try to overcompensate, like, what we don't do for ourselves into doing it for other people. So it's like the less that we're there for ourselves, we overcompensate for it by constantly being there for other people. But we have to balance out the scales. Because people are going to treat us the way that we treat ourselves. If we constantly neglect ourselves to be there for other people, quite naturally, they're going to think to themselves like, oh, okay, well, she neglecting herself. That's okay. We can do it too. Or he's putting himself last. Okay, cool. We can do it too. Come on, everybody. Let's neglect her. Or let's run over him because he's doing it to himself or she's doing it to herself. People can only treat us the way that we treat ourselves. And I think that's honestly a good thing, because when other people do us a certain way, it's easier for us to realize that it's a problem versus us doing ourselves like that, because a lot of times we become numb to how we're treating ourselves because we do it so often. It has become a habit, it's become a routine, we've become numb to it. We don't really always see how we're treating ourselves until somebody else treats us the same way. And we just think to ourselves like, I do not like this. And then that's when we realize like, oh, wow, I treat myself like this. I'm constantly there for these people. They're never here for me. Oh, wow. It shines light on how we have been treating ourselves. If we're complaining about other people not being there for ourselves, the big important question is, have we been there for ourselves? And if the answer is no, how can we expect anybody else to be there for us? It's all about something I've learned about leadership. Is if we want people to do something, we have to be doing it ourselves. Like with this YouTube channel, it's all about healing, learning, growing, evolving. What do I look like trying to do these tarot readings to help everybody else heal, grow, learn, and evolve if I'm not doing the same myself? At that point, it's hypocrisy. So that's why I myself am healing, growing, learning, evolving. I'm enrolled in the therapy myself. Anything we expect out of other people, we need to be doing it ourselves. You want these people to be there for you. You want these people to be more considerate, more kind, more thoughtful. It starts with you, okay? You want these people to value your time and value your love and your presence. It starts with you. First, you have to value your time. You have to value your love, attention, and care and your own presence. You have to set the pace. You set the path for people to follow. But if you're neglecting yourself and putting yourself last, You give average people the green light to do you the same way. And what I mean by average people is that they're not empaths, okay? Empaths, we can see what's wrong. We can see that a person doesn't like how they're being treated. Like, we just intuitively know. But an average person, they just take things at face value and ask questions later. If they see that you don't really care about yourself, they're like, oh, okay. Well, I ain't gonna care about you either. You know, they don't say that verbally, but their actions will show you that. And they don't mean any harm. It's just people who are not empaths, they seriously just can only think on the surface level on things. You're not as empathetic as us, you know? But an empath, we're just like, oh, you don't care for yourself? Okay, well, I'll do it for you. So honestly, I could be talking to somebody who you are surrounded by people who are constantly in need of love, attention, light, care, nurturing, you know? And it's like you are there for them. It's like you are doing the healing for them, which that's absolutely impossible. No matter what you say to people who are broken and who need healing, or no matter what you do, they're going to remain in that state because they themselves have to heal themselves. And a lot of people, they don't really know that. I myself, I didn't know that. I always thought that, okay, if I keep giving advice, if I keep being there for people, that'll help them heal. But no, what it really help a person heal is if they are healing themselves. Because if you're dealing with somebody who they're dependent on you for light, depending on you for love, depending on you for affection and care, validation, after a while, that's going to get tiring. And that person is not going to grow at all. The more you're there for them, that person is not going to grow. You know? But I said that to say that empaths, we don't just take things at face value. You know? We see somebody don't love themselves, we're like, okay, well, I love you for you. But it doesn't work like that. That person has to love themselves. Because if a person doesn't love themselves, it's impossible for them to properly love anybody else. And it's showing in here. It sounds like you're dealing with people who don't really love themselves. You're constantly there for them. And because you're constantly there for them, you know, they haven't fully learned how to love themselves or bring themselves joy. So they depend on you for it. And they're not able to return the favor for you when you need it. These people cannot return that favor. So it's almost as if you constantly being there for other people, dear empath. It's almost as if you are hurting yourself and you're hurting the other people. You're not trying to. I heard this saying, I forgot where it came from, but it says, most damage in this world has been done by people with good intentions. You know, we think that we're helping. We think that we are being of big help by constantly being there for people. But really, all that's doing is hurting us because we're not going to get it back in return. These people are incapable of returning that favor. And we also stunt that person's growth or these people's growth by trying to heal them for them. Trying to love them for them. That person has to love themselves. Those people have to know how to bring light and joy into their own lives. You know, because if these people need you, they're not actually valuing you, because there is a big difference. If somebody's in your life and they're healthy and they're already happy on their own, they're able to appreciate you. But if these people lack happiness in their own life, if they lack like confidence and things of that nature, it's not so much that they'll be drawn to you, but your ability to fill their need. So it becomes a very toxic and codependent connection. So that's why you end up feeling drained and left out and unseen and unheard. These people don't mean any harm, but, you know, If people don't love themselves, it's impossible for them to love you. And the more you try to love them because you see that they don't love themselves, you continue to stunt their ability to grow and learn how to love themselves and love you back. And you also hurt yourself by overextending yourself, expecting them to be able to love you or expecting them to be there for you. Okay? I seriously forgot who said that, but most damage has been done on this planet by people with good intentions. You know? We think we're helping by constantly giving that person validation. But really all we're doing is draining ourselves, being used, and we're hindering that person's ability to learn how to validate themselves. It's a lose-lose situation. You know? And a lot of times us empaths, we are to other people who we need to be to ourselves. And then we get upset when other people are not to us who we need to be. It's not their job to be. It's just their job to be themselves. We shouldn't need anything from anybody. If we need comfort, that's what, as an empath, we have exactly what we need to fulfill our every emotional need. But it's all about using our time wisely. The time that we sit up here trying to force our love on people, trying to force our advice and care and tenderness on other people, all that can be thrown into ourselves so that we can learn the true value of it. And then once we realize the value of our time, our love, our affection, our energy, once we learn the value of it, that's when we can decide who in our lives can afford us, who in our lives, is worthy of our attention, our love, our care. And what I mean by that is who is able to reciprocate, who is able to give it back on that same level. Does that mean cut out these people? No. It just means we have to learn to love accordingly. Okay? Don't do any more than what the next person is doing. If you try to call them with your problems and they too busy, well, the next time they try to call you, you need to be too busy. And if these people are just here for a good time, and not able to actually be there for you, okay, when you need them, how you're there for them, if they're not able to be there for you and just want a good time, you would have to decide for yourself if you are okay with that. And as an empath, 9 times out of 10, we're not just okay with people just wanting to have fun and keep things lighthearted, and when times get hard, they're not there. We actually tend to shy away from situations like that. We don't like superficial connections. We can laugh, drink, party together, but when I need you, you're not here. But if you need me, I'm here. Like, no. So it sounds like I'm talking to an empath who you have to learn how to love accordingly. How to be there for people accordingly. It's almost as if what'll really help you in this situation is learning how to mirror people. Once again, if these people are constantly busy, each time you try to call them and talk to them about your problems, if they always busy, you find you something very exciting to do in your life. You find a passion or either pick up a job. Just keep yourself busy to where when these people call, you're not as available as you normally are. And once you do that, these people are seriously going to get some act right. Because once again, we never truly know the value of something until it is gone or until something goes wrong. So it sounds like you need to make these people miss you You need to make these people miss what you have to offer so that they can realize just how valuable it is. And also, it will teach them how to be to themselves what they need you to be to them. If they always need you to be their comfort and source of validation, if you take that away from them, you leave them to fend for themselves, which is a good thing. A lot of times we think helping people is helping them, but no, a lot of times when we try to help people, we hinder their process. If we're constantly there for a person, constantly giving them advice, we kind of hinder their process of learning how to tap into their own intuition and save themselves and take their own advice. If we're constantly there for people, we stunt their growth. It's kind of like tough love. If you truly want a person to heal, if you truly want a person to learn their lesson, what people think and consider is leaving them for dead, it's not that you leave them for dead, but you allow them to fend for themselves, which is a good thing. And I can actually testify to that, okay? Because before I got out here on my own, honestly, I was house hopping. I think I stayed with every family member. And it got to a point to where they pretty much got fed up with my behavior and my inconsistencies. And because they got fed up with me, I had to learn how to fend for myself. And that landed me to be in this Page of Wands energy. I'm my own savior. I am whole and complete. I provide for myself, But if I was constantly being babied, if I constantly had support, if I constantly had help, if I constantly had a cushion to fall back on or a safety net, I would not be out here. I would be staying with somebody else right now. I wouldn't even have a car. I'd still be catching rides. I wouldn't even have no money. I'd be spending other people's money, borrowing money, instead of learning how to save and budget. But because I had to fend for myself, because I didn't have help, because my support system was not in place, at the time I saw it as something bad. But now that I look back, I'm actually glad that I didn't have the support that I felt that I needed. I would not be doing tarot readings. I would not learn as much as I wouldn't know how to save money. I wouldn't know how to budget. I wouldn't know how to do anything on my own if I constantly had empaths around me. People like you. So if you truly want these people to be able to love you, you have to love you. And they can't love you if they don't know how to love themselves. So you would have to deprive them of some of the love that you've been giving them so they can fend for themselves. If they can get a hold to love themselves, they'll be able to love you. Or when it comes to attention, you want attention from these people? Okay, well, they need to first have attention for themselves, but they can't have attention for themselves if you're constantly giving them attention. You're distracting them from themselves. And you're also burning yourself out by constantly expecting from another person what you can easily put into yourself. As an empath, you have all the emotional love and intensity inside of you that you need to pour it back into yourself and to restore your own heart. But it looks like you're really hindering both your process and this other person's process or these people's process. You're slowing down your ability to learn how to be there for yourself. Well, you already know how to be there for yourself, but it's like you're choosing to be there for other people instead and hoping for them to be there for you in return. But it doesn't work like that. If we're going to be there for people, it needs to be because we want to, not because we're expecting them to be there for us in return. We have to already have all our emotional needs met. Because if not, that's what creates a codependent relationship. That's what makes things toxic and unhealthy. We have to love ourselves, and the people we deal with, they need to love themselves as well. They can't love us if they don't love themselves. For them to love ourselves, for them to love themselves, they have to know how. But if we're constantly loving them for them, we hinder their process of learning how to do that. Okay? So all that love, attention, affection, all that you pour into people, if you can redirect that energy back to you, okay? How you're constantly there for people, if you can just change where you flow your energy to and redirect it. Be there for yourself more. Be less available to these people so they can value you, and also learn how to, support their own needs. If these people need you for validation and you take away that validation, they have to learn how to be their own source of validation. So it's almost as if walking away and abandoning these connections is actually going to help them to grow. Today's society doesn't know too much about self-love. We think if you love a person, you're always there for them. You always help them. But what we don't know is that actually hurts people much more than it does actually help them. That's a very vicious and toxic cycle, to always be there for people. People have to learn how to be there for themselves from time to time. Because there was a point in time where I constantly would call my mom and constantly call my dad and my sisters with my problems. And it wasn't until they all, had lives of their own and were really busy and all that, to where I learned how to be there for myself. I learned how to wipe away my own tears. I learned how to open up my own Bible. I learned how to comfort myself. Now, there are times whenever, it's okay for us to reach out. But for the majority of the time, we have to know how to be our own savior. And us being our own savior, it would teach other people how to be their own saviors. Because if we're not there for ourselves and constantly for other people, it's just very unhealthy for both us and that other person. But we have to know that we are whole enough on our own. All the love that we look for, the care that we look for, we have to provide that for ourselves instead of looking to other people to be that source. And once we start pouring that into ourselves and becoming once we start pouring that into ourselves, that's when we will value ourselves a whole lot more. And once we value ourselves, we will realize who around us deserves all of that. And the people who deserve that are people who are able to pour that back into us. People who are able to reciprocate. But, everything happens for a reason, okay? It's good that you feel like these people are not there for you. So now you can learn how to be there for yourself. You are everything that you are looking for. You're looking for people to be attentive and caring and nurturing. Are you not attentive and caring and nurturing? According to this reading, the answer is yes. You are who you are looking for. And I actually did a reading for Leo like this a long time ago. If y'all need to, y'all can check out that video. It's called You Are What You've Been Looking For All Along, or something like that. It's by Leo, or it's for Leo, because in Leo's reading, It's like they were the man or the woman in everybody else's life, and it's like they were thinking to themselves, like, who's gonna love me like I love them, or who's gonna be there for me? And the answer is, us. That person that we're waiting for to love us like we love them, that person that we've been waiting for is us. And once we start to love ourselves and be there for ourselves and be our own shining knight in armor, that's when we actually learn how to value ourselves. And we get to, place a price. And once we place that price on ourselves, that's when we ask ourselves, who in our lives can afford us? Who can exchange that same energy? Who's on the same page as us, the same wavelength? Because if these people can't, once we do realize our value and realize that these connections don't have much to offer us, it's not that something's wrong with these people. It's just that they can't be anything more to us than they are to themselves. If they don't know how to be there for themselves and comfort themselves, it's impossible for them to, reciprocate to us how we're there for them. So all that does is stunt one person's growth and cause the other person to feel all out of whack, okay, unbalanced, okay. But you have what it takes, okay. The person that you're looking for, the love that you're looking for, it's in the mirror. And once you value what's in that mirror, once you value the time that you invest in yourself, you'll see who in your life, can match that. Most of your love, attention, and care, it needs to be pouring into you. And the excess that you have, it can flow into these other people. Because right now, they're only able to breadcrumb you. Okay? So it's like in return, you have to breadcrumb them. Pour most of your love and attention and time into yourself. And whatever time you have left over, you can give it to them. But you come first. Okay? You come first. You are first. You know how they say first come, first serve. You are that person that you are to love first. Before you get these people validation, give it to yourself first. Before you invest in their business, invest in your business. Before you comfort them with their problems, make sure you comfort yourself with your own problems. Because if we're constantly giving away our love and not pouring it into ourselves, all that does is create a very toxic bond, not only with these people or this person, but with ourselves as well. Because you know how they say God is a jealous God? Okay, God is inside of us. So all those feelings of jealousy, hatred, unfairness is going to be inside of you until you fix this unbalance, But, it all starts with you. How you been praying for people to be more considerate, more kind, more thoughtful. We can't change people. But I tell you what, if you pull back that source of whatever you are to these people, you'll teach them how to be that to themselves. And if they can be that to themselves, they can be that for you. Okay? A prime example is if you have your own place and these people do not. If you're constantly letting them stay with you instead of pushing them to get their own place, if you need somewhere to go, you're not going to have anywhere to go. You can't expect out of them anything they can't do for themselves. And they can't do it for themselves because you're constantly there for them. You're constantly providing for them. So it's like if you want them to be there for you, you have to deprive them of your presence. All the goods that you give them, you have to deprive these people so that they can get it for themselves. And once they have it for themselves, they can share that with you. Start with you first, then work your way down to giving it to them. Okay? Self-care first, and then care for these people. Self-love first, and then love these people. Okay? Because once again, an empath sized up with an average person is just like an amateur basketball player trying to play against a professional basketball player. Your highest level of love is a giant compared to their highest level of love. So to match these people, you would literally have to breadcrumb. Okay? Start with you first. Pour majority of your love, time, affection, validation into yourself. And then whatever you have left over, after you make yourself feel good, then you pour into these people. And the time that you spend pouring into yourself, it would deprive them of some of your presence. And it will cause them to have to be that for themselves. And once these people can be that for themselves, they will be able to meet you in the middle. They will be able to exchange, okay? But right now, it's imbalanced. Okay? Because you're constantly there for these people and neglecting yourself in the process, expecting these people to be to you what you're really supposed to be being to yourself. Okay? You want comfort, okay? You have to be that to yourself. You need that comfort. And you are the best person to receive it from. That's why these people love you. You are a very good source of comfort and validation. But you don't know that. If you knew that, you would be giving it to yourself. You would be crazy about your own love and attention and validation if you knew how valuable it was. Okay? So it's almost as if I'm talking to somebody who you have been neglected of something just so that you can learn how to provide yourself with that. And in the process of you providing yourself with that, you would fall in love with your own source of love, attention, validation. You would fall in love with that, and you would be spending more time to yourself, enjoying your own energy, and it would deprive other people of your energy. And they would be required and forced to step up. Okay? So the time you pour into yourself, it would allow these people to pour into themselves. And y'all both come back whole, healthy individuals. Okay? But something I found out about love, it's not one half person plus another half person. Even when it comes to friendships, it has to be one whole person plus another whole person. People who are happy on their own. They're their own source of comfort, validation, love, attention, affection. And then you put that together. Two people who can equally love each other. Okay? Not one broken person looking for the other person to fill one need, and the other person, they broken, trying to look for the other person to fill. No, that's codependency. Okay? And that's not good in the long run on your mental health. Okay? So just know that you come first and you have exactly what it takes. You are what you are looking for. Okay? And once you start being your own savior, your own source of love and comfort, okay, and company, you gotta learn to enjoy your own company. Once you learn to enjoy your own company, other people will start to enjoy it more because you'll start to value it more. You'll be like, I like my company. I don't want to just share this with anybody. You just start to get real bougie. Okay? And when you deprive these people of your company, that's when they start to value it. And that's when they have to learn how to sit to themselves. Or if they want to, remain in the same toxic cycle, they would just find somebody else to, feed off of. Like energy vampires, okay? Which that would be up to them to decide. Okay? But you have a choice here. Either continue being that source or be that source to yourself. Okay? But just know the more you're there for these people, the worse it's gonna get. the less they're going to be able to love you how you love them, because you're not allowing them the space to learn how to love themselves if you're constantly loving them for them. Okay, it's kind of like reverse psychology here. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this reading up. I hope y'all took something very valuable from here. Okay, you are what you are looking for. Okay, you are the perfect candidate. Okay, if you were looking for Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect, okay, look in the mirror. Okay, seriously. And once you fall in love with that person, you'll start to be much more stingy with who you share that person with. You know, it's like you become a relationship, you know, in a relationship or marriage where, you know, you don't really want your partner around a whole bunch of different people or different women. That's how you'll start to be with yourself. Like, nah, I don't want me with that person. No. You start to get real jealous and real stingy with yourself, how you're supposed to. Everybody does not deserve your love, attention, and time. Especially not people who can't give it back to you. Okay? So, alright, I'll let you guys go. I love y'all so much. I pray that this was a very big help to your healing journey. And, yeah, I'll let you guys go. Until next time, toodles!